Have you ever heard a joke so funny, so perfectly timed, that you physically couldn't hold back the laughter? I'm not talking about a little chuckle. I'm talking about the kind of laughter that comes from deep in your chest, the kind that makes your eyes water and your stomach hurt. That was me, standing in the middle of a glass-walled conference room, surrounded by the people who were supposed to love me, laughing until I could barely breathe. Across the mahogany table sat my father, looking down at his hands. Beside him was my mother, nervously adjusting her pearl necklace, refusing to meet my eyes. And at the head of the table, in the chair that I had bought, in the office I had designed, sat my younger sister, Sarah. She didn't look amused. Her face was bright red. Her knuckles were white as she gripped the armrests. "Leo, stop it," she snapped, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and fear. "This is serious. Did you hear a word I just said? You are fired, terminated, effective immediately. Hand over your badge and get out." I tried to stop. I really did. I wiped a tear from the corner of my eye and took a deep breath. But looking at her sitting there, wearing a designer suit that cost more than her first car, trying to play the role of the ruthless business mogul, it just set me off again. "I'm sorry," I managed to say, holding my hands up in surrender. "I'm sorry, Sarah. It's just, you have absolutely no idea what you've just done, do you?" "I know exactly what I'm doing," she hissed, slamming a folder shut. "I am trimming the fat. I am taking Miller Tech in a new direction, a modern direction. And we don't need you holding us back with your outdated methods." "Outdated methods," I repeated, tasting the words. "Is that what we're calling it now?" I looked at my parents. "Dad? Mum? Is this really happening? You're letting her do this? After everything?" My father finally looked up. His eyes were tired. "Leo, please. Your sister, she has the MBA. She has the vision. We think it's time for a change. You've worked hard, son. Maybe it's time you took a break, a long vacation." A vacation? That was their code word for exile. I looked back at Sarah. She was smirking now. The insecurity was gone, replaced by pure, unadulterated arrogance. She had won. She had finally taken the one thing I had poured my entire life into. She thought she held all the power because her name was on the door, and she had the majority shares our parents had gifted her just yesterday. She thought firing me was the end of the story. But that's why I was laughing. See, Sarah thought she was the driver of a high-speed race car. She didn't realize that for the last 10 years, I wasn't just the mechanic, I was the engine. And she had just thrown the engine out of the car while moving at 200 miles an hour. I stood up, buttoning my jacket. The laughter had faded into a calm, cold smile. "All right," I said, my voice steady. "You win, Sarah. You're the CEO. You're the boss. I accept my termination." I reached into my pocket, pulled out my security badge and slid it across the polished table. It stopped right at the edge, inches from her hand. "Good," she said, lifting her chin. "Security will escort you out." "No need," I said, turning to the door. "I know the way. I built this building, remember?" I walked to the door, my hand on the handle. I paused for just a second. I wanted to warn them. Part of me, the part that was still a loyal son and a protective brother, wanted to scream at them to stop before they destroyed everything. But then I remembered the look in Sarah's eyes, the entitlement, the utter lack of gratitude. "Good luck, Sarah," I said softly. "You're going to need it." I walked out of that room, and for the first time in 15 years, I felt light as a feather. I wasn't losing a job. I was escaping a sinking ship. And the best part? The captain had just thrown the only life raft overboard. Section 2, The Architect of the Empire. To understand why that moment was so funny and so tragic, you have to understand where we started. You have to understand that Militech wasn't always a multi-million-dollar logistics empire housed in a downtown skyscraper. 15 years ago, Militech was a dusty laptop on a folding table in my parents' basement. My father was a good man, but he wasn't a businessman. He was a truck driver. He knew routes, he knew cargo, and he knew how to drive. But when his back gave out, he was lost. He had a few contacts, a beat-up van, and a mountain of debt. I was 22 years old, fresh out of college with a degree in computer science and a job offer from a major tech firm in the city. I was ready to leave our small town and never look back. But then one night, I found my dad sitting at the kitchen table, his head in his hands, crying over a stack of overdue bills. He was going to lose the house. I couldn't leave him. I couldn't leave them. So I turned down the corporate job. I took my signing bonus, money I had planned to use for an apartment, and I paid off the immediate debts. Then I sat down with my dad. "We're going to fix this," I told him, "but we're not just going to drive trucks. We're going to change how the trucks move." My sister Sarah? She was 16 at the time. While I was coding dispatch software until 4 o'clock a.m., she was sneaking out to go to parties. While I was cold calling clients and begging them to give us a chance, she was complaining that I typed too loud and kept her awake. I didn't mind back then. She was just a kid. I was the big brother. It was my job to protect the family. And I did. Oh, I did. I built a proprietary system. I called it the Grid. It wasn't just a spreadsheet. It was an AI-driven logistics platform that optimized routes, predicted delays, and handled automatic billing. It was revolutionary. It allowed our tiny company of 3 drivers to do the work of 50. Within 2 years, we moved out of the basement and into a warehouse. Within 5 years, we had a fleet of 100 trucks. By year 10, we were the leading logistics provider in the state. My father was technically the CEO. My mother was the CFO, though she mostly just signed checks I prepared for her. They enjoyed the status. They joined the country club. They bought a vacation home. They loved being the founders of a successful business. I stayed in the background. I was the COO, Chief Operating Officer. I didn't care about the glory. I cared about the work. I knew every client by name. I knew the code of the Grid line by line because I had written every single character of it. But then, Sarah came home. Section 3. The Prodigal Daughter Returns. Sarah had spent her 20s finding herself. First, it was art school in New York, which my parents paid for. She dropped out after a semester because the professors stifled her creativity. Then it was a fashion startup in Los Angeles. My parents invested $50,000. The company folded in 6 months because Sarah spent the capital on launch parties instead of product development. Then came the year of backpacking through Europe. I watched all of this from my office window, working 80-hour weeks to make sure the money kept flowing so she could keep spending it. I never complained, I just kept working. 3 years ago, she showed up at the office. She was 30 now. She looked polished, sophisticated, and hungry. I'm ready to join the family business, she announced at Sunday dinner. My dad beamed. That's wonderful, sweetheart. We've missed you. My mum clapped her hands. Finally, the whole family together. I was cautious. That's great, Sarah. We have an opening in sales, or maybe HR. You're good with people, she laughed, a cold, sharp sound. Sales? HR? Leo, don't be ridiculous. I'm a miller. I belong in the C-suite. I looked at my dad, waiting for him to talk sense into her. You don't just walk into an executive role, you have to earn it. You have to understand the business. But my dad just smiled. She has a point, Leo. She's smart, she has worldly experience. We should make her vice president of strategy. Strategy? I choked on my water. Dad, she doesn't know the difference between a supply chain and a necklace chain. Strategy is dangerous if you don't know the operations. She'll learn, my mum interjected, her voice sharp. You can teach her, Leo. Stop being so territorial. She's your sister. And that was the beginning of the end. I tried to teach her. I really did. I brought her to client meetings. I tried to walk her through the software. I tried to explain why we couldn't just triple our prices overnight. But she didn't want to learn. She wanted to command. She started redesigning the office, spending thousands on modern furniture we didn't need. She fired our head of customer service, a woman who had been with us for 8 years, because she didn't fit the new vibe. I fought her on every decision, and every time I did, she went running to Mom and Dad, crying about how I was bullying her, how I was jealous, how I wouldn't let her shine. Slowly, my parents started to pull away from me. They were getting older. They wanted peace. Sarah gave them flattery and grand promises of global expansion. I gave them reality checks and budget warnings. Nobody likes the person who brings them bad news. Everyone loves the person who tells them they are geniuses. Sarah was a master manipulator. She convinced them that our steady growth was actually stagnation. She convinced them that I was the bottleneck. She told them I was too cautious, too old-fashioned, too obsessed with the technical side to see the big picture. The tension built for 3 years. It was a Cold War fought in the hallways of the empire I built. And then came yesterday, Section 4, the coup. I walked into the office yesterday morning and found my keycard didn't work on the server room door. I thought it was a glitch. I went to the front desk, but the security guard, a new guy Sarah had hired, wouldn't look me in the eye. Sorry, Mr. Miller, he mumbled. System updates. I had a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I went straight to my father's office. He wasn't there. I went to my mother's office. Empty. Then I received a calendar invite on my phone. Subject, emergency board meeting. Location, main conference room. Time, now. I walked in. They were already seated. The lawyers were there. That's when they dropped the bomb. My parents were stepping down. They were retiring to Florida effective immediately. They were transferring their controlling interest in the company, 51% of the stock, not to me, not to us equally, but to Sarah. It just makes sense, Leo, my dad had said, his voice shaking. Sarah has the energy for the next phase. You've looked tired lately. We want you to support her. She's the CEO now. I was in shock. You're giving the company to her. Dad, she almost bankrupted us last month with that marketing stunt. She doesn't know how the grid works. I don't need to know how it works, Sarah interrupted, smiling like a cat who just ate the canary. I just need to know how to sell it. And I can sell anything. You're just the tech guy, Leo. I'm the visionary. I sat there for 24 hours, trying to process it. I thought maybe I could stay. Maybe I could protect the company from the inside. Maybe I could be the buffer between her incompetence and our clients. But Sarah didn't want a buffer. She didn't want a babysitter. She wanted total control. Which brings us back to this morning, to the laughter. As I walked to the elevator holding a box of my personal things, my phone buzzed. It was a notification from the server. Administrator access revoked for user L. Miller. She hadn't just fired me, she had tried to lock me out of my own creation. I stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the lobby. The doors closed, shutting out the view of the office floor. The silence was peaceful. I pulled out my phone again. I wasn't looking at the company email, I was looking at a specific app. A hidden diagnostic tool I had installed on my personal server at home, a server that acted as the heartbeat for the entire company's infrastructure. You see, the grid wasn't just software you could buy off a shelf. It was a complex ecosystem. And like any ecosystem, it needed maintenance. It needed a daily handshake, a digital check-in to ensure that the person running it was authorized. I called it the dead man's switch. I wrote it 5 years ago, not because I planned to destroy the company, but because I was paranoid about hackers. If the system detected a security breach, or if I didn't enter a specific encrypted key once every 48 hours, the system would assume it had been compromised. It wouldn't explode, it wouldn't delete data, that would be illegal. No, it would do something much simpler. It would revert to safe mode. In safe mode, the automation stopped, the route optimization stopped, the automatic billing stopped. The client portals would go offline to protect data. Essentially, Militech would go from a futuristic AI-driven logistics giant back to what it was 15 years ago, people with pens and paper trying to manage 10,000 shipments a day. It would be chaos. It would be an apocalypse. And the only person who had the key to turn the automation back on had just been escorted out of the building. I looked at the timer on my phone app. Time until safety lockout, 14 hours. I smiled. Sarah wanted to run the company. She wanted to be the big boss. Well, tomorrow morning she was going to find out exactly how heavy that crown really was. I walked out into the bright sunlight of the city street. I hailed a cab. "Where to?" the driver asked. "The airport," I said. "I think it's time I took a vacation." While Sarah was presumably sitting in her new office, measuring the drapes and ordering expensive espresso machines, I was 30,000 feet in the air. I had booked a one-way ticket to a small island in the Caribbean. No itinerary, no return date, just me, a suitcase, and the peace of mind that comes with knowing you are no longer responsible for a sinking ship. I turned my phone off as soon as I sat in my seat. For the next 10 hours, I was unreachable. It's funny. For 15 years, my phone had been a leash. I slept with it under my pillow. I checked it in the shower. I answered calls during dates, during movies, during funerals. If a server went down at 3:00 a.m., I was the one who woke up. If a driver got lost in a blizzard, I was the one guiding them out. But now, the phone was off, the leash was cut. I ordered a drink, reclined my seat, and slept better than I had in a decade. When I landed, the sun was setting. The air smelled like salt and hibiscus. I checked into a private bungalow on the beach, unpacked my things, and ordered a steak dinner. I looked at my watch. It was 8:00 p.m. local time. Back home, it was 7:00 a.m. The office would be opening in 1 hour. The dead man's switch was set to trigger at 7:30 a.m., right when the morning shift logged in to dispatch the first wave of 300 trucks. I sat on my balcony, watching the waves crash against the shore. I took a sip of my drink and finally, after 15 hours of silence, I turned my phone back on. Sound effect, a rapid-fire series of pings, vibrations and ringtones. It sounds like a slot machine hitting a jackpot, but more chaotic. Ping, 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 buzz, buzz, voicemail, voicemail, voicemail. My screen lit up like a Christmas tree. 47 missed calls, 82 text messages, 20 emails marked urgent or emergency. The first few texts were from regular employees, dispatchers, drivers, IT support guys. Leo can't log in. Is the server down? Leo, the grid is showing an error code I've never seen. Help. Hey boss, trucks are idling at the depot, no route data, what do we do? Then the texts shifted, they became more frantic. Leo, pick up, it's chaos here. System is locking us out, it says safe mode, what is the pass key? And then the calls from family started. 6 missed calls from my dad, 10 from my mum, and 25 from Sarah. I didn't call them back, not yet. I wanted to let it marinate. I wanted them to really feel the weight of the situation. I wanted Sarah to sit in that big chair and realize that a CEO title doesn't give you the magic power to fix code you don't understand. I scrolled through the messages, a small smile playing on my lips. Then my phone rang again. It was Gary. Gary was one of the few people at the company I actually liked. He was the head of the IT help desk, a good guy, loyal but completely out of his depth with the core architecture of the grid. I answered, "Hello, Gary?" "Oh, thank God!" Gary sounded like he was hyperventilating. "Leo, where are you? You need to come in, now, it's a disaster." "I can't come in, Gary," I said calmly. "I don't work there anymore. Remember, security escorted me out yesterday." I know, and it's insane, but listen to me," Gary stammered. "The grid is gone. It's just gone." At 7:30 a.m., every screen in the building turned blue. There's a message that just says, "System verification failed, reverting to safe mode." We can't see the trucks, we can't see the orders, we can't print shipping labels. The warehouse is at a standstill. "Safe mode," I said, acting thoughtful. "Ah, yes, that happens when the system detects an unauthorized administration change or lacks the daily security handshake." "Handshake? What handshake?" Gary cried. "How do we fix it? Sarah is screaming at everyone. She fired the new IT guy 10 minutes ago because he couldn't hack it. She's threatening to sue us all." "Gary," I said softly, "I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but I can't help you. I'm on vacation." "Vacation, Leo? We are losing $50,000 an hour. The drivers are walking off the job, clients are calling and cancelling contracts." "That sounds like a CEO problem, Gary, not an ex-COO problem." "Leo, please." "I have to go, Gary. My dinner is getting cold. Good luck." I hung up. I didn't feel guilty about Gary. He would be fine. He had a resume. He could get another job. But Militech was bleeding, and the sharks were circling. Section 6, the CEO. Panic. I finished my dinner. I watched the stars come out, and then I decided it was time to talk to the Queen. My phone rang again. "Sarah calling?" I let it ring 3 times before sliding the bar to answer. "Hello?" "What did you do?" No hello, no how are you, just a screech that forced me to pull the phone away from my ear. Sarah sounded hysterical. Sarah, I said, good morning to you too. How's the first day of the new era going? Don't play games with me, Leo, she screamed. You sabotaged the system. You planted a virus. I have lawyers standing right here. We are going to sue you for everything you have. We're going to send you to jail. Whoa, slow down, I said, keeping my voice level. I didn't plant a virus, and I certainly didn't sabotage anything. I built a security feature. It's designed to protect the company from hackers and corporate espionage. It locked us out, she yelled. It shut down the whole operation. It's called safe mode, Sarah. It triggers when the system administrator, that used to be me, doesn't verify their identity for 48 hours. It assumes the admin is missing or dead, so it locks the core database to prevent theft. It's a safety feature. Well, turn it off, she commanded. Give me the password right now. I took a sip of my drink. I can't do that. What do you mean you can't? You built it. I did, but you fired me. You revoked my access. You took my badge. I am no longer an employee of Miller Tech. If I were to give you that password, or if I were to log in remotely to fix it, I would be accessing corporate data as a civilian. That's a federal crime, Sarah. It's hacking. I could go to jail, and I'm not going to jail for you. There was a silence on the other end, a long, heavy silence. I could hear her breathing. I could hear the chaos in the background, phones ringing, people shouting. Leo, she said, her voice dropping an octave. She was trying a different tactic now, manipulation. Leo, don't be like this. Mom and Dad are worried sick. This is the family legacy. You built this. You don't want to see it burn, do you? I didn't burn it, Sarah, I said coldly. You did. You threw out the engine and expected the car to keep driving. You wanted to be the boss. This is what being the boss is. It's fixing the problems no one else can fix. I don't know how to fix this, she shrieked, the facade cracking. I don't know code. I don't know servers. I know, I said. That's why I told you not to fire me. That's why I told you that you weren't ready. But you laughed, remember? You laughed at me. I'll hire someone else, she threatened. I'll hire a team of experts. They'll crack your stupid code in an hour. Maybe, I said. The encryption on the grid is 256-bit custom architecture. I wrote the compiler myself. Sure, a top-tier forensic data team might be able to crack it. It might take them a week, maybe 2. 2 weeks, she gasped. We'll be bankrupt in 3 days if the trucks don't move. Then I guess you better get started hiring. Oh, and Sarah, those experts, they charge about $500 an hour. You might want to check the company accounts. I recall you spent most of the cash reserves on that new office renovation. Leo, wait. Enjoy the view from the top, Sarah. I hear it's lonely up there. I hung up. Then I blocked her number. Section 7, The Domino Effect. The next 24 hours were a masterclass in how fragile a business really is. I didn't need to talk to anyone to know what was happening. I just had to watch the news. By noon the next day, it was on the local business report. Miller Tech logistics grinds to a halt. Supply chain disruption across the tri-state area. The reporter stood outside our building. Behind him, I could see drivers holding signs. They weren't protesting, they were confused. They were independent contractors who only got paid when they delivered. If the system was down, they couldn't get their assignments. They were losing money, and they were angry. I refreshed my email. A notification from LinkedIn popped up. Status update. Sarah Miller posted, "We are experiencing minor technical difficulties. Everything will be resolved shortly. Miller Tech remains strong." Below it, there were hundreds of comments. "Minor difficulties? My shipment of perishables is rotting in a warehouse in Ohio." "No one is answering the phones." "I'm cancelling my contract." "This is unprofessional." I felt a twinge of sadness. I did. I saw the names of clients I had spent years cultivating. I saw the drivers I used to have coffee with. They were hurting. But I had to remind myself I didn't do this. I offered to stay. I offered to help. I was thrown out. My father called me that evening. I decided to answer him. He, at least, deserved a conversation. "Leo," his voice sounded weak, old. "Leo, son, please." "Hi, Dad." "Leo, your mother is crying. Sarah has locked herself in her office. The bank called. They're freezing our credit line because of the operational halt. Leo, you have to stop this." "Dad, I can't stop it," I repeated. "I am not the admin anymore." "We'll hire you back," he said, desperate hope in his voice. "We made a mistake. Okay, we admit it. We made a huge mistake. Come back. We'll give you your job back. Same salary, everything back to normal." I almost laughed. "Same salary, Dad? You fired me. You humiliated me in front of the board. You replaced me with someone who has zero experience just because she's your favorite. And now that the house is on fire, you want me to come back and be the janitor for the same salary?" "What do you want?" he asked. "A raise? We can discuss a raise." "I don't want a raise, Dad. I don't want a job. I want respect, and frankly, I don't think you can afford me anymore." "Leo, are you really going to destroy this family over pride?" "I didn't destroy the family, Dad. You guys sold me out for a shiny new CEO. Now you have to live with her." "She's your sister!" "And I was her brother. Where was that loyalty yesterday? Where was that loyalty when she threw my badge across the table?" He went silent. He knew I was right. "If you want my help," I said, my voice hardening, "it's not going to be as an employee. Those days are over. If I come back to fix this mess, it's going to be on my terms, my new terms." "What terms?" he whispered. "I'll think about it," I said. "I'll let you know in a few days." "A few days? We don't have a few days." "Then I guess you better hope Sarah is a fast learner." I hung up again. I checked the stock market ticker on my phone. Miller Tech wasn't public, but our biggest client, Global Foods, was. Their stock was dipping because of supply chain uncertainties. The ripples were spreading. I went to the hotel bar. I ordered a mojito. The bartender smiled at me. "You look like a man who doesn't have a care in the world," he said. "Something like that," I replied, just watching a reality show unfold. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Sarah wasn't the type to give up. She was the type to lash out. And if I knew my sister, she was about to do something incredibly stupid to try and save face. She wasn't going to fix the computer. She was going to try and destroy the creator. Part 3. The Scorched Earth. Section 8. The Smear Campaign. Sound effect. The sound of a television news intro jingle glitching slightly. I thought things would get quiet for a day or two while they scrambled to find a solution. I was wrong. On the morning of the third day, I woke up to my phone blowing up again. But this time it wasn't desperate texts from employees, it was links. Dozens of links to news articles and a video clip that was trending on social media. I made a coffee, sat on the patio, and clicked the link. It was a press conference. There was Sarah standing at a podium outside the Miller Tech building. She looked tired, but her makeup was perfect, and she was wearing her war paint, a sharp red blazer. My parents stood behind her, looking like deer caught in headlights. "My brother, Leo Miller," Sarah said into the microphones, her voice shaking with practiced emotion, "is a bitter, vindictive man. He couldn't handle the board's decision to move in a new direction. So in an act of corporate sabotage, he planted a logic bomb in our servers before he left." The reporters shouted questions. "Is customer data safe? Is this blackmail?" Sarah nodded gravely. "We believe he is holding our data hostage. He is refusing to cooperate unless we pay a ransom. We are working with federal authorities. We will not negotiate with terrorists, even if they are family." I almost dropped my coffee mug. Terrorist? Ransom? She was insane. She was accusing me of a felony on national television. She knew exactly what the safe mode was. I had explained it to her on the phone. But she couldn't admit to the shareholders that the system failed because of her incompetence. She couldn't admit she fired the only person with the keys. So she decided to frame me. She was trying to turn me into the villain so she could be the victim. I closed the laptop. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from a cold, hard rage. I had been content to let the company struggle for a week until they begged me back. I was going to be the savior, but now? Now she had made it personal. She wasn't just attacking my work, she was attacking my name. I picked up my phone and dialed my lawyer, a sharp-witted shark named David, who had helped me set up my own independent consulting LLC years ago, just in case. "David," I said, "did you see the news?" "I'm watching it right now," David replied. "She's digging her own grave, Leo. That's defamation per se. Slander, libel, and since we have the server logs showing the system went into safe mode automatically due to lack of admin verification, not a malicious command, we can prove she's lying." "I don't want to just sue her, David," I said. "I want to end this." "What's the plan?" "Let her spin her wheels for 24 more hours. Let her bring in the experts. Let them fail. When the stock value of the company hits 0, then we make our move." "Understood," David said. "I'll draft the paperwork. By the way, Leo, remind me never to piss you off. Section 9, the expensive failure." Sarah made good on her threat. She hired a top-tier cybersecurity firm. I knew the firm, Cyberwall Solutions. They were good. Expensive, but good. They arrived at the office with their black vans and team of hackers. They were billing Miller Tech 1,000 an hour per head. Sarah probably had 10 of them in the server room. That's 10,000 an hour, 240,000 a day. I knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to brute force the encryption on the dead man's switch. Here's the thing about the code I wrote. It wasn't just a password. It was a biometric handshake combined with a localized encryption key that changed every minute. To crack it without the key, you would need a supercomputer and about 10 years. Or you could just wipe the servers and start fresh. But if they wiped the servers, they would lose 10 years of client data. Invoices, shipping history, route optimization, learning models, unpaid bills. Miller Tech would be a blank slate. They wouldn't know who owed them money. They wouldn't know where the trucks were. It would be suicide. I watched the clock. 24 hours passed, then 48. I got a text from Gary, my contact on the inside. Gary, it's a funeral in here. The cyber guys gave up. They told Sarah the only way in is to format the drives. Sarah is screaming at them. Mom is crying in the break room. Dad is in the hospital. I froze. Dad is in the hospital. I called Gary immediately. What happened to my dad? Chest pains, Gary whispered. Stress. The ambulance came an hour ago. Leo, the company is dead. The drivers have all quit. They're signing on with our competitors. Global Foods just officially terminated their contract. We have 0 revenue coming in. I hung up. I looked out at the ocean. The anger was still there, but hearing about my dad, that shifted things. He was weak, and he had made a terrible choice. But I didn't want him to die, and I didn't want the legacy I built, the thing that put food on our table for a decade, to turn into ash. It was time. The company was worthless. The reputation was in tatters. The clients were gone. Perfect. I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't go to the office. I went to a generic conference room in a law office downtown, David's office. I sent a single email to Sarah and my parents, CCing their lawyers. Subject: resolution. Body: I am in town. If you want the servers unlocked, meet me at 4 p.m. at the address below. Bring the incorporation papers. They arrived at 3:55 p.m. Sarah looked like she hadn't slept in a week. Her designer suit was wrinkled. Her hair was messy. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a jittery, terrified energy. My mother was pushing my father in a wheelchair. He looked pale, hooked up to a portable oxygen tank. They sat on one side of the table. I sat on the other, flanked by David. For a long minute, no one spoke. "You look well," I said, breaking the silence. "You monster," Sarah spat, though it lacked her usual fire. "You destroyed us." "David," I signalled to my lawyer. David slid a thick document across the table. "This is a defamation lawsuit," David explained calmly. "You accused my client of terrorism on national news. We have logs proving the system acted automatically as a safety measure. We can prove malice. If we go to court, Sarah, you will lose everything you own personally. Your condo, your car, your savings." Sarah went pale. She looked at her lawyers. They nodded grimly. She had no defense. "However," David continued, "my client is willing to drop the lawsuit, and he is willing to unlock the servers immediately." "What do you want?" my father rasped, his voice barely a whisper. "Money? We don't have any left. The accounts are frozen. The penalties for the broken contracts. We're in debt, Leo. Millions in debt." "I know," I said. "The company is technically insolvent. It has a negative value." "So why are you here?" Sarah asked. "To gloat?" "No, I'm here to buy it." I slid a check across the table. They looked at it. "Pay to the order of Sarah Miller, John Miller, Mary Miller. Amount $1, Sarah shrieked. "Are you joking? This company was worth $50 million last week." "Keywords, last week," I said, leaning forward. "Today? Today it is a lawsuit magnet with no employees, no clients, and locked data. It's a burning building. I'm offering to buy the ashes for $1 and take on the debt." "We won't do it," Sarah said, slamming her hand on the table. "I am the CEO." "Sarah," I said softly, If you don't sign that paper, the bank forecloses tomorrow. You will be personally liable for the loans you signed for. You will be bankrupt. You will be sued by Global Foods. You will be sued by the union. You will spend the next 10 years in court. I looked at my parents. Mom, Dad, you can walk away. You can retire. I will take care of the debt. I will handle the lawsuits. You keep the house. You keep your pension. But Sarah is out, completely. No shares, no seat on the board, no job. My mother started to cry. Leo, please, she's your sister. She tried to send me to jail, Mum. She went on TV and called me a terrorist. That bridge isn't just burned, she nuked it. I stood up. You have 5 minutes to decide. Sign the transfer of ownership, or I walk out that door, I get on a plane, and I let nature take its course. I walked to the window and looked out at the city. I could hear them whispering. I heard Sarah sobbing. I heard my father's heavy breathing. Dad? We can't, Sarah pleaded. It's over, Sarah, my father said. His voice was stronger now, final. He's right. We broke it. He's the only one who can fix it. But for $1? It's better than prison, my father said. I heard the scratching of a pen. David cleared his throat. All parties have signed. I turned around. The papers were signed. Miller Tech was mine. 100% of it. I picked up the document and the single dollar bill I had placed on the table. I handed the dollar to Sarah. Here, I said, severance pay. She looked at me with pure hatred, but she took it. She didn't have a choice. Now, I said, taking my laptop out of my bag, get out of my conference room. I have work to do. Section 11, the reboot. As soon as they left the room, the atmosphere changed. David let out a low whistle. That was cold, Leo. Impressive, but cold. It was necessary, I said. I opened my laptop. I connected to the remote server IP. I typed in the command line. Admin, verify, L. Miller, password. Command, disable, safe mode, system, restore, initiate, sound effect, a rising digital hum like a power turbine spinning up. On the screen, the angry red text turned to a soothing green. System online. Data. Recovery 100%. Automation resumed. I pulled out my phone. I called Gary. Gary? Leo, why are you calling? We're packing up boxes. Unpack them, I said. Look at your screen. I heard a gasp on the other end. Then a shout. It's back. The grid is back. The screens are lighting up. Listen to me, Gary. I just bought the company. I am the CEO now. I want you to send a mass text to every driver and employee who quit in the last 3 days. What do I tell them? Tell them Miller Tech is under new management. Tell them everyone gets a 20% raise if they are back at their posts by tomorrow morning. And tell them the engine is fixed. A 20% raise? Gary stammered. Can we afford that? Not yet, I smiled. But I know where to find the money. We're going to sell all that fancy office furniture Sarah bought. We're going back to basics. You got it, boss. Welcome back. I hung up. I was exhausted. I was technically in debt up to my eyeballs. I had a family that would probably never speak to me again during the holidays. But as I walked out of that building, I took a deep breath. The air tasted clean. I had my life's work back, and this time, no one was ever going to take it away from me. Part 4. The Aftermath and the Lesson. Section 12. The Resurrection. Sound effect. The hum of a busy office, keyboards typing, phones ringing, a general buzz of productivity. It sounds different than the beginning. It sounds alive. 6 months. That's how long it's been since I bought my life's work back for $1. If you walked into the Miller Tech offices today, you wouldn't recognize it. The first thing I did was get rid of the glass walls. I tore down the executive suite. I sold that ridiculous mahogany conference table and the Italian leather chairs. We used that money to pay the drivers' overtime bonuses. Now, my desk is right in the middle of the floor, right next to Gary and the dispatch team. No doors, no barriers. When a server glitches, I hear about it in 3 seconds. When a driver has a great day, I'm the first one to high-five them. It wasn't easy. The first month was brutal. We were operating on razor-thin margins. I had to beg Global Foods to take us back. I remember the meeting with their VP of Operations. He was skeptical. "Why should we trust you again, Leo? Your company left us stranded." I looked him in the eye and said, "The company didn't fail you, the leadership did, and the leadership has been corrected. I wrote the code that saved you millions in shipping costs for 10 years. That code is back, online, and so am I." He signed a probationary contract. We hit every deadline. We arrived early. We communicated. Within 3 months, we had the full contract back. We are profitable again. We aren't making millions yet. Most of the profit goes to paying off the debt Sarah racked up. But we are stable. The fear is gone. The drivers wear their Miller Tech jackets with pride again, because they know the guy running the show isn't looking down on them from an ivory tower. They know I'm the mechanic who knows how the engine works. Section 13. The Fate of the Fallen. But I know what you're wondering. What happened to them? What happened to the family that threw me away? I didn't speak to them for a long time. I needed space. But last week I went to visit my parents. They had to sell the big house with the pool. They live in a modest condo now on the edge of town. It's nice, but it's small. When I walked in, the mood was heavy. My dad is recovering, but he moves slower now. The arrogance is gone from his eyes. He looks like a man who gambled his legacy and lost. We sat on their small patio drinking iced tea. "How is the business?" my dad asked quietly. He didn't look at me. "It's recovering," I said. "We just hired 5 new drivers." He nodded. "That's good. You were always the one who made it work, Leo. We should have seen that." "Yes," I said, "you should have." It wasn't said with malice, just a fact. And then there's Sarah. She didn't take her severance well. For the first few weeks, she tried to spin the narrative online. She posted vague status updates about misogyny in the workplace and hostile takeovers. She tried to paint herself as a martyr, but the internet is a cruel place, and people have receipts. The drivers she ignored, they posted their stories. The clients she blew off, they commented on her posts. She was laughed off of LinkedIn. She couldn't get a job in management. No one would hire a CEO who bankrupted a legacy company in 3 days. Her reputation was radioactive. I saw her yesterday, actually. I was walking downtown to grab a sandwich and I passed a high-end boutique clothing store. There she was. She was folding sweaters in the window. She saw me. Our eyes locked through the glass. She didn't wave. She didn't glare. She just looked defeated. She looked down and went back to folding. She's starting over, from the bottom, just like I did 15 years ago. And honestly, it's the best thing that could have happened to her. For the first time in her life, she has to actually work for a paycheck. She has to answer to a boss. She has to learn that respect is earned, not given because of your last name. I didn't go in. I didn't smirk. I just kept walking. Section 14, the final lesson. Sound effect, soft, reflective piano music begins to play. I used to think that loyalty was the most important thing in the world. I thought that if I worked hard and loved my family, I would be safe. I was wrong. The world doesn't run on loyalty. It doesn't run on fairness. It runs on leverage. My sister thought power came from a title. She thought that because she sat in the big chair, she drove the car. She didn't understand that the person who holds the power isn't the one barking orders. It's the one who holds the keys. They fired me because they thought I was just a worker. They thought I was replaceable. They forgot a fundamental rule of life. Never insult the person who handles your parachute. If you are listening to this, maybe you feel like the underdog. Maybe you're doing all the work while someone else gets the credit. Maybe you feel unappreciated. Don't get mad. Don't scream. Don't beg for their respect. Just become undeniable. Build your skills. Learn the systems. Become so good, so integral, so essential to the process that they literally cannot function without you. Make yourself the engine. Because one day they might try to throw you out. They might try to replace you with someone cheaper or flashier or better connected. And when that day comes, you won't have to fight them. You won't have to sue them. You can just smile, hand over your badge and walk away. And then you can sit back and wait for the phone to ring, because eventually the car always stops if there's no engine.